everyone, my name is Brianna Tabor. I'm 18 years old, and the topic that I chose for my project is called The Serious Stuff, Homicide. Homicide is just something you do not want to mess around with, most definitely. But anyway, let's just dive right into it and learn what this is all about. So what's homicide? Well, homicide is basically when one person takes another person's life on purpose, and it's pretty bad. It's pretty heavy stuff. And if it's not the number one, it's most definitely the top three most serious crimes anyone could ever commit. And it's most definitely, worse than stealing, some money, a piece of candy from a convenience store, or breaking a little window by accident. Okay, but there are different types of homicides. For example, the most common one is called murder, which happens when someone plans to intentionally kill someone, whether it's out of anger, out of love, out of hatred, whatever the reason is, it is intentional and it is planned. And they are 100% making, a bad decision and to hurt someone. And on the other hand, the other type of homicide that exists is called manslaughter. And this happens when someone, takes the life of someone else, causes their death by accident, which could be a car accident, whatever kind of accident it is, it's basically just not intentional. There is a specific case that I wanted to talk about that is related to this subject, which is basically Ted Bundy. He was born on November 24th in 1946 in Burlington, Vermont. And he was basically just the random, ordinary, most normal guy you would think that he was, but that's what he wanted to appear as. And he was handsome, he was charming, he was intelligent, but deep down, he had that dark side. He was twisted, he was angry, he was violent. And nobody could have imagined anything of that sort from that kind of man. In the late 1970s, I think, I'm pretty sure, Bundy, he just began his terrifying, rampage of just killing mostly women out of anything. Actually, he would lure young women, like, for example, pretending to be injured or in the need of, help or any, an emergency, for example. He could have, been in the car and said that he had a flat tire, something like that. And once he gained their trust, he would just attack them, and pretty bad. He wouldn't do just one little scar or anything. He would brutally hurt them. And he was a predator, preying on innocent victims, and that was pretty bad. His crimes, they spread across multiple states, including, for example, Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado. And he was a master. I mean, he was pretty good at what he did. Changing, for example, his appearance, so people wouldn't catch on to what he was doing. And he actually really liked that social life. He liked going to parties, he liked socializing with women, with men, with whoever it was, with kids, which made it even more creepy. And his crimes began to escalate throughout the time, and he would often break into, for example, homes and attack women while they're sleeping, kids. He would brutally attack them, and it was horrifying. I mean, he would sexually assault them, torture, and he would just murder them, and just leaving trails of devastation, and for the families and friends and anyone who loved those women. And law enforcement agencies, they were most definitely baffled by these crimes and the series of murders that were, constant. It wasn't one every 4 months or anything. It was very consistent. And he ended up getting caught. I believe he got caught around the 1978, I think. And he was arrested in Florida after being pulled over, and he was taken to court, and he decided to be his own lawyer. He wanted to defend himself, and that basically allowed him to manipulate the judge, anyone else in that courtroom, just as he manipulated, the women, the girls, the people. And he liked playing mind games. That was his favorite. And even like, you know, like on the media, like on the news. And it was something that really, you know, terrified everyone in those times. But despite his attempts to, you know, outsmart the system, he was most definitely found guilty of multiple murders and sentenced to death. But, you know, unfortunately, his story did not end there. He continued to manipulate, he confessed to more crimes. You know, I mean, he did so much that he deserved the execution, death. I'm pretty sure he was assigned the electric chair, and I think that he started confessing to additional crimes to, you know, like push out that date or his death date a little more. But he always liked that attention. He liked that, and yeah. So finally, on January 24th, he was executed in the electric chair in Florida as well, where he stayed. And that is pretty much it to his story. But yeah, it's important to, you know, recognize the lives that were lost in his hands, the families, you know, I mean, they were going through a lot, friends and anything. But let's get right into it. Let's get into the repercussions about these kind of crimes. And that is, repercussion is just a fancy way of saying consequence, you know, or what happens next. But when someone commits a homicide, they're breaking the law big time. The police and justice system get involved. They're trying to find out what happened and who did it, and if someone was found guilty of murder, punishments, everything of that sort. And they can go to prison for a very, very, very long time, or even a lifetime. And if their crime is very, very serious, their life is taken away from them. I mean, as well as their families, their friends, everything. And like, for example, and that was for murder. And for manslaughter, the punishment, I mean, it's still taking someone's life, but the punishment can be less severe than murder, but it can still really affect you, for example, or any family, as I mentioned before. They can go to jail, maybe not prison, but they can go to jail for a shorter time, or they can face, you know, other consequences like, I don't know, like community service, or, you know, something to really get you to think about what you did or what happened. I mean, I guess the worst punishment is knowing that you took someone else's life. So you won't need, and especially if it was on accident, you won't need that extra, you know, life sentence. But yeah, but just remember that the biggest repercussion is that just you knowing that, you know, the loss of a precious life, that you took it. And yeah, when their families are devastated, and for example, they could have lost their only child, things like that. So this video has gone on for a little too long, and I just wanted to wrap this up. But basically, in conclusion, homicide is a terrible crime when one person, you know, intentionally takes the life of another person. And manslaughter is on accident most of the times. And it is super serious, and the consequences are super severe. And we do need to learn from this and understand that it's a life, it's precious, it's a human. I mean, whether it's a dog, it doesn't matter what it is, a life that has been taken away is not okay. And we should most definitely always try to make the right choices, you know, stay in school, all those things that we always hear around, you know, our families and everywhere. And treat each other with kindness, respect, and stay safe. Thank you for your attention. And again, my name is Brianna, and I hope you like this video. Thank you.